What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Save Point Podcast, episode 11. I am Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about PlayStation games on PC. That's going to be the central topic for the video, maybe even the only thing I talk about in this video, besides my casual, just talking. Now, I asked people what they wanted to see from me, what kind of questions or topics, and I got some pretty darn good ones. So I'm thinking, again, even outside of this show, I could do individual videos for some of the ones that stood out the most to me, or just have them be, on this show in the future weeks. So, I think next week we'll have something to talk about because of the Game Awards and Halo campaign. Week after Spider-Man. So we'll have some topics here and there, and then I'll throw in some topics you guys want to talk about. Now, again, in order to get your questions or topics featured, all you have to do is let me know. You can let me know here in the comments. You can let me know on the community tab, all that stuff. If you are a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member, you immediately get to the front of the list. I'm more inclined to, take what you say and use it. Okay, so you guys can support the $2 tier or $5 tier, either here or, again, like YouTube memberships, the join button next to the subscribe button, or on Patreon. The link is in the description. Now, this comes from 42 Games, so I want to thank him really quickly for giving me this topic. Now, I have talked about this a little bit. In fact, I made a video a few months back talking about this, but I think that was even before God of War. It was before another wave, and even talks because of that GeForce, the Now leak, that had all of these, basically the only PlayStation things on that leak list, which could be true, could not be true, or all games coming to PC, right? Like Sackboy, I think Ratchet and Clank was on there. So games like that, I don't know if Returnal for sure, but, basically it was just a lot of the games that have come out for PlayStation the last 2 years, and it's coming on PC. Again, whether or not that actually happens, but, his question was, can you talk about Sony exclusives making their way to PC? Which ones you expect in the future? And if you like the fact that they are deciding to let PC gamers experience these titles. So that last part, again, I made a video specifically on it, but I do want to talk about it a little bit, and I'll answer the rest of that stuff. I am in support of it in the way that they are doing it. I actually, and look, I'm not a Sony fanboy, I think, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm also not a Sony hater. Same thing for Microsoft, same thing for Nintendo. A lot of people like to label me that, but I've criticized Sony many, many times on the channel, to not the greatest response back, by the way. And that's just kind of who I am. I call it for what it is. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. I love Sony a lot. I prefer PlayStation. I've said that. If I have to pick what device or system or whatever to play a game on, I do prefer PlayStation. Okay, so I guess take that what you will, but I am willing to call them out. Now, the thing with this is I actually do, again, like the strategy for what it is. And even if you're thinking of how Sony wants to do this business stuff, the whole making money idea and running a business, if you think about the way they want to do it, I actually really like it so far. I mean, we'll see where it goes. And then when you include mobile or live service games, like, you're getting into some sketchy areas. But at least for now, the PC idea I do like quite a bit, where it's, why just have these people be off to the side forever? Okay? Why have that? Why not have the best of both worlds and say, hey, we want PlayStation to be the place you go to play games. Perfect. I don't see how that's a bad thing for Xbox to say that, for PlayStation, for Nintendo, for any of these. You should say that, right? We want you to buy a PlayStation to play games. So what do? Well, you say, okay, well, we're going to have exclusives, and they're only going to come out on the PS5 or PS4, formerly, let's say now PS5, over the next several years, right? You can only play these games if you get the PS5. Perfect, okay? Now you play them. And the thing is, you're going to get a certain amount of people for a certain length of time, or that are going to buy the game over a certain length of time. When that time expires, you've done your group that you're catering to. You've exhausted that. And that's not a bad thing. Like, you've used them all. So now what do? Well, you have another pool of people in the PC market, right? So put the game out for them. They play it, and then now and then again, you get best of both worlds, because like PC gamers that only play PC, they now get to experience these titles, and they say, man, there's other PlayStation titles, if they're all the same quality, which are very high, I need to get a PlayStation because not all of them are on PC yet. Or there's a God of War Ragnarok coming out, Horizon, so I need to get a PS5 so I can play these games, because I don't want to wait a year to play God of War Ragnarok. Who would want to wait a year, right? So I'm going to get a PS5. And you get the money from PC players buying it in the first place, that game. Now, it doesn't do all that well, like insanely well. In fact, we got some of the statistics, I don't remember them offhand, but Days Gone, Death Stranding, Horizon Zero Dawn, those games, I believe, did get sales numbers on PC, and they're not like incredible. I think the highest one is like 1.5 or 2 million units. So like you're selling like between 1 and 2 million, let's say, on PC. But like you're getting the majority on PlayStation, right? Your game comes out, you hope it sells, whatever. Like God of War Ragnarok, let's use that, okay? Comes out, you probably would expect it to do, well, I guess that's a little harder because it's on PS4 and PS5. You probably want it to do like 10, 12 million in that first, couple months. We know God of War, I believe, sold 20 million, but that's after like 3.5 years. So when I guess to continue that example, right? God of War Ragnarok will probably sell, let's say, 10 to 15 million in the first year. That's probably fair. And then, within year 2, within year 3, it'll get that extra, 5, 6, and maybe it does more. Maybe it sells a lot more early on, and then it kind of slowly dies down, or just dies down immediately. That's fine. So you have a lot of people that play it immediately, but then you're done. I don't think people really understand that much about the people that are like anti-PlayStation putting it on PC. I don't really mind that idea if we're talking day one. Day one it comes out on PlayStation 5, day one it comes out on PC. I know that's what Microsoft does, and while I'm not, anti-Microsoft, again, I have Game Pass, we got the Series X, I have a PC to play Xbox games. Like I'm a fan. I like a lot of the stuff they do. One thing I will say that I've always criticized them for is there's no reason to get an Xbox because you can just get a PC. Now, some PCs are more expensive, and depending on your situation, or maybe you prefer consoles, I understand all that. I'm just saying the basic idea is it's not exclusive to Xbox if it also comes out on PC, because exclusive means you're only on the thing, and then if you're on another thing, you're not exclusive. So but that's what Microsoft wants. See, that's a different strategy, so I can get behind it. I can understand it. I'm fine with it. I don't actually care. And it's the same thing for Sony, right? Their strategy is not that. It's not get people to play it on PS5 and PC day one. They want people to buy the PS5. And we actually know Xbox doesn't care if you buy the Xbox consoles, which is a little odd to say out loud, but it's what they do say, and it's fine. Again, I don't actually care. But PlayStation wants you to buy the PlayStation consoles. And again, I think their strategy is perfect for what it is. You're going to get like you need a PlayStation, a 4 or a 5 to play God of War. I mean, that's a really good example of God of War Ragnarok. Like a lot of people are going to want to buy that game. You need a PlayStation. If it comes out on PC a year later, I'd even argue 6 months, but maybe you want to go for the full year. Fine. What's the harm for the people that are so against it? What's the harm? Because within a full year, the majority of the people in the lifetime of the game have already bought it. Again, the game may sell 10 to 15 in the first year and then sell another 5 the next 2 or 3 years. So the majority did buy it immediately. And so, like, who are you harming? Who are you harming by putting it on other places? I was going to say other consoles, but you can't exactly do that. So I'm fine with the strategy. I like it. I will be honest. I mean, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I was more like all Sony games, all Xbox games, they need to only be on that console, leave PC out of it, all that stuff. And it's like, but why? Ultimately, growing up, it's like, but I like, why not? You can have it best of both worlds. And you could say both of them are doing that because Microsoft is doing best of both worlds too. It's just a different way than Sony. So, you have that. And then what were the other parts to his stuff? Can you talk about Sony exclusives making their way to PC? Which ones you expect in the future? So the ones I expect in the future are kind of the ones that would cop-out answer. They're kind of the ones in that GeForce Now leak. Again, like a game like Ratchet and Clank, I think would be really cool. Sackboy, a big adventure. That would be, why not? I mean, it's not going to, it's going to sell 400,000, maybe. Like, that's it. It's not going to do outstanding, right? But what's the harm? You get 400,000 people that buy it, and then Sony gets that money. It's like, what's the harm in that? Again, a game like Returnal, I think, would be pretty darn interesting. Anything you can make work. And then even going in the future, Horizon. Yeah, I mean, you had the first Horizon, so second game better be on PC within the first, or after, let's say, a year. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And I don't know how many. I think this has been something that's been kind of tossed around a little bit. I would not be surprised if The Last of Us. Now, this is a different example. Last of Us Part 2 probably should make its way, by the way. So, like Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, those should make its way. Last of Us is multiplayer, the new one that they're coming out with. I would not be shocked, and I wouldn't say no if I was like an advisor. I wouldn't say no to should we release it the same day on both. That would actually be an example, I think, with a multiplayer. And actually, that kind of goes with that Fire Sprite Studios that they got or that they are working with. Any of the, I think, Haven Studios, right? Any of these ones that they're making these third-party deals with or now second-party deals, if they're multiplayer, maybe the first day that it comes out PS5 and PC. And that makes sense because you're really trying. The goal for those games is to keep them around, right? Make a big bang day one, but keep them around a long period of time. And so you need as many people as possible playing your game to do that. And you need Twitch streamers and you need YouTubers to be playing it. And the more places you put it, the higher chances you're going to get. So I would not be shocked if when they eventually do announce The Last of Us multiplayer, The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer, whatever they announce it as, that it comes out on PS5 and maybe even PS4. But see, then I would think like, I guess standard wise maybe it's just a little bit lower, but that's just me. But it's on PS5 or it's on a PlayStation console and PC the first day. Would not be shocked. And that would kind of usher in a new era of PlayStation where these multiplayer games would be on both day one. Games like games like God of War, Horizon, or Last of Us 3 or Sly Cooper comes out on PS5 and then a year later comes out on PC. And then you have the mobile market, right? Which then, again, that goes a little bit more sketchy to me. You got mobile stuff, which I'm not like insanely anti, but I wouldn't say I'm like pro mobile at all. So maybe I'm more anti, but you got mobile stuff, which would be franchises in the PlayStation world would be on mobile. And those would just kind of be side gigs that maybe I don't even have to get myself all worked up about it because it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And then the live servicey stuff. I mean, I think a lot of these multiplayer games will be live service, so they're kind of the same thing anyway. But so you have these games come out day one, they last for a long time, and they come out on both PS5 and PC. And maybe even there's like a mobile component depending on what game it is. So you really have the PC aspect, the live service aspect, and the mobile aspect. You could potentially get those with the same games, all in one package. So it's a new era in general. I mean, Microsoft is doing stuff you wouldn't have ever imagined anybody doing like 10 years ago, right? With the xCloud and all that stuff. I mean, we're going in a new era. I get Sony needs to kind of respond to that and move forward and to keep your games forever. To keep your games forever only on one console, only in one scope of mind. Like, they're not all the same games, right? Some of them are more linear story games. Some of them are more like open worldy games. Some of them are zombie games. Actually, a lot of them are zombie games. Like, yeah, they're different genres, but they're all, they're all basically big AAA, mainly single player. In fact, all single player like experiences. Some of them have multiplayer tied in like secondary, but like that's the main thing. You can't do that forever. Now, that's what I prefer, and I will always prefer just for me, a single player, AAA thing. I'll always prefer that over pretty much any, or like I even like action adventure is kind of my favorite one, but a single player, maybe a little bit more linear, is kind of my favorite kind of game. And so I'll always prefer that, but you can't, as a company, that's not the only thing you can make. You gotta expand. You gotta put on different platforms. You gotta make them last longer than 2 weeks to play and beat, right? Even though I don't necessarily agree with making games like 60 hours when they could be 30, that stuff happens because of this, which is an issue in the gaming industry that Sean Layden, right, kind of warned people of as well. But I feel like it's kind of too late to go back, and it's not going to work out perfectly, and it's not going to work for everybody, but we'll have to see how it goes. So pretty sure that's it. I mean, I made that a pretty solid video, I would say. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, let me know any other questions or topics you want me to do. As we get throughout December, I'm going to do some sort of like game award kind of thing. I don't know if I'll do it in this or as like kind of separate videos, but we'll have lots of different videos throughout December, including for this podcast. Again, if you're a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member, your stuff gets top of the line. I'm for sure going to use it in some way or the other. Join button is next to the subscribe button, and Patreon is in the description below if you guys want to support us there. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on next week's episode.